What's up, guys? This is Callan from Trendsetters Trading LLC, coming at you with our first installment of our live technical analysis series. This series is basically going to cover blue chip stocks, stocks that our members ask for analysis of, or anything in between. We'll do small caps, large caps, basically anything that we want. We're going to be bringing you a full chart, and we're going to completely erase all of our previous charting so that you guys can see and kind of get a feel for how to chart on your own and see what we see when we're sending our patterns in the Discord server. So first things first, I always like to find a macro trend line and resistance to see what kind of macro patterns we're working with. And for Alibaba, we're going to currently start with the high in 2018, or it looks like January 2019. And we'll get one touch, two touch, three, and then a fourth here, which was actually a breakout. So this is going to be our macro resistance, and you'll see that we're currently above that, which is a very bullish sign. And next we're going to find our macro support. So most people would start from the low, but if I started from the low here, it wouldn't get as many touches on the full candlesticks. It would get the bodies, but not the wicks. So we'll start from this low. If I can get it, there we go. And we'll have one touch, two touch, three, four, five. With a double bottom here, which is why I wanted to get the wicks in, because you wouldn't be counting for that double bottom if you were just doing the bodies. The pattern that this creates does appear to be a rising wedge, or maybe just an ascending channel. Either way, it's not the most bullish pattern in the world, but the breakout of it is bullish regardless. So we can't just sit here and look at this and say, oh, it's bound to fall, because it didn't meet resistance and failed to break here. It broke very strongly. The reason that it broke was because of the massive bullish speculation that we had back in April. If you're a member of our server, then you know we talked about this for a couple weeks until it finally got the move. But there was a big asymmetrical triangle here, and behind the pattern, there were millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of volume on 200 and 220 strikes for 9/18 and for August, and this is back in April. And this is when there was a lot of speculation on Alibaba, if it's reached its peak, if it's not really going to keep performing as strong. We also had the Jack Ma related news coming out. So no one really knew what was happening, but nonetheless, bullish traders were anticipating a massive move, and they got their 70-point swing to all-time highs. In addition to this, we also broke that major resistance, so it's looking very, very bullish for the time being. Now that we have our macro trend line support and resistance, we're going to pull up a macro Fibonacci retracement to find price level support and resistances that algorithms would see or that other technical traders are seeing. Basically, not just going through and clicking, okay, this looks like a strong level or this looks like a strong level, because those aren't certain. Those are just what we can see. So we'll do the fib pull. We'll start down here at the low of 129.77. Go to the high. The daily chart shows 268, but I know for a fact it went to 270.76. Edit that. That tiny difference shouldn't make too much of a difference to your overall chart, but nonetheless, I want to make it perfect. So what the Fibonacci is telling us is that we had a lot of resistance here from this golden pocket until we were finally able to break it. And the breakout came in March, just before this huge August push. So bullish traders were betting very big down here at the support trend line, and then again up here at the midpoint of the Fibonacci at the 0.50. So there's a lot of bullishness from 170 to 200, which is no surprise that we went up to 270. This also appears to have formed an ascending triangle. Of course, this is all hindsight. Just want to show you guys what we would see. So there's an ascending triangle, there's your breakout, and then another big pattern. So very bullish plays overall with Alibaba. I'm going to remove that. So we've got our macro, and we've got a pretty clear picture. A lot of bullishness. We've put the bearish case to rest by breaking over this wedge, if you want to call it that. And we're currently in between the all-time high, and the 0, and the 236 at 237.5. So we're going to be trading range bound in this range here until we get a move. If we break the 236, we're looking kind of bearish. We're headed back into our pattern. One could expect a move all the way back down to support, trendline support, since we're so far from it right now. But until then, we need to speculate that this level of support will remain as support, and we'll hopefully get a backtest, a full backtest of this resistance, and continue towards the all-time high thesis. So we've got macro done. Let's look at a little closer time frame. We'll go to 4 hour. This isn't the prettiest thing in the world because it does appear to be a triple top around this area. It's not exactly at a price level, but this area leading up to all-time high resistance does look a little bit bearish. But we can also find a pattern in this as well, which if you're a member of our Discord server, you've seen me post, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. We have another symmetrical triangle here, and it currently looks to be backtesting that symmetrical triangle. Now, Justin and I love the backtest. We sometimes will miss a nice breakout, but as you can see here, if you wait for the break and you see a bullish move from it, it gets rejected at its previous resistance. This is when we can come in and just draw our own resistance levels. So 266.5 was the previous high. It also met resistance here, even though that was really sloppy, choppy. So it shot out from the pattern, found resistance where it should, and got rejected. But this trend line from the support here, or the support from the trend line, I'm sorry, is still intact, and the pattern is still intact. And we're currently backtesting it right now. So waiting for a trade to backtest is always proven to be an effective method for us because A, we're not going to get caught in a trap on a bullish breakout like this. Like you're not going to try to take calls up here at the resistance. That would just be silly. You also don't take calls on the break and have to worry about it failing because now that we know it's failed, we have another attempt. For the time being, it looks like we're probably going to find most of our support in this little area leading down to the 236 and just price level support over here. We would love to see support from the trend line held, which would show us a bounce here. But if it breaks, that's not the worst thing in the world. We're dealing with a macro fib, a macro resistance turn support here. There are a lot of other things going on that are much bigger and much more important than this small symmetrical triangle. We can also go in and draw a micro Fibonacci pull for this recent trading frame. We'll start with the lows on the 29th and we'll go up to the high. And here will show us some price level support and resistances from algorithms so we get a clearer picture. And right now it looks like the strongest level of support, or range of support I should say, is from the 236, or excuse me, to the 382 to the midpoint right here. If we do break this, then we're going to attempt to bounce off of the resistance turn support, and if we break that, then we can start speculating bearishly. However, until we break this level, we are to remain bullish and anticipate a bounce either here on the backtest or a bit of a failure with a bounce here off of the resistance turn support. So as you can see, the backtest method worked perfectly. We held support from the symmetrical triangle trend line and eventually created a new all-time high. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Remember to like and subscribe, and check out our website, trendsetterstocks.com.